Rescue 8, Truck 6, Truck 3, Battalion 3, and the on-call inspector. 2303 West 46th Street, number 208.
On this episode of Sioux Falls Fire, we'll go with crews as they battle a commercial structure fire and talk about the difference between commercial and residential fires. We'll also go underground with our Sioux Falls USAR team as they practice their confined space training. And have you ever wondered how to use a fire extinguisher? Well, stay tuned for this episode of Sioux Falls Fire and we'll show you how.
Hey, my name is Jeremy Hill with Sioux Falls Fire Rescue. Today we're here in the catacombs of the Washington Pavilion doing some urban search and rescue training, confined space specifically. So today this training is going to simulate, a worker was in doing some utility work underneath the Washington Pavilion here, and they lost contact with him, and basically they don't know how far in he had gotten and even how far these tunnels necessarily go. So it's our job to recon the area and determine how far he is and what resources we're going to need to get him out of this hole. So anytime we do a confined space, it's obviously exactly what it says. It's confined, it's very limited, and you can't stand up and walk around and move around. It's typically everything you're crawling on your hands and knees, which is uncomfortable in itself. And then you need to wear an excessive amount of gear. This is only a partial complement. So you're getting tangled up on lots of different things. But we need ropes in order to get us out. We need ropes to get them out. We have to wear protective respiration in order to ensure the atmospheric hazards aren't going to compromise us, I would guess. So some of the challenges in this specific one is it was very tight and it turned several corners. So when we turn the corner, all the ropes in the air, it's basically on a line. It gets bound up when you turn the corners and things like that. And then the victim itself, he was buried under a little bit of debris, so we had to dig out some of the debris and then package him up and get him out. So, well, in Sioux Falls, we've got a handful of firefighters that are trained, especially in urban search and rescue. And this particular situation, like I said, there was a small utility chase where the worker went in and he had some problems and couldn't get out. Now there are several other aspects or situations where this could be used. Grain bin rescue is a big one in the area around here. Or anytime any confined space, any opening that is not designed to be occupied by a human, could be fuel tanks, it could be just a number of things where we would have to enter these openings and that are dangerous. So we're very fortunate we get to do these trainings in the city buildings like the Washington Pavilion and the Midco Aquatic Center and all the other businesses that are helpful to us, because we don't have these types of scenarios that we can just create out of nowhere, and these are actual real life situations that we could encounter, and it's invaluable to have this resource at our disposal.
All right, we're on scene of a structure fire on the north end of Sioux Falls. First in engine company was Truck 7 with Captain Terry Nelsen. What'd you experience when you first got on scene?
When we pulled up on scene, we had smoke showing from the roof from multiple spots. Also on the next building across, started having a little bit of smoke coming from that building. Obviously we're a little ways from the other units. So we started getting a couple lines pulled off, had a backup line, the primary line, waiting for additional units to show up. As soon as we entered in the building, we had high heat, zero visibility, black smoke all throughout the building.
I heard you started with a left-hand search, I believe, in there?
Yep, started left-hand search.
What's that mean?
We started looking for victims, working towards the left around the building. So as soon as I entered in the door, went to the left, got to a wall or a stopping point, kept going. Left way all the way around the building.
Okay, and then you finally got to what you consider the seat of the fire, got some water on it.
Yep, we got some ventilation going, so we got some better visibility inside, able to start to see a couple feet ahead of us.
Okay.
Able to start making better progress. Heat started dying down. Worked the ceiling as we went, knocking out ceiling tiles, any heat up above.
Okay.
Kept working towards the east, got to where we saw the main body of fire and started getting knocked down.
Knocked it down. So right now, primarily working in the ceiling area, getting all the hot spots and that stuff taken care of, correct?
Yep, a lot of it was in one room of the building,
Okay.
and then high heat up in the roof area. Have a metal construction up there, so it held a lot of heat, but we're getting that knocked out now.
So with this building being a bar, what kind of different hazards do you run into compared to, let's say, a house?
Obviously, being a commercial building, we have a lot more tables, chairs, cash registers, bars, all kinds of stuff that's in there compared to a house, to where you have your normal setup of a couches, chairs, and that type of stuff.
All right, so it's a little easier to navigate through a house than it is in a bar setting with
Yep,
tables,
the
chairs.
majority of house is easier to move through. Obviously, a lot of the chairs and table get knocked down
Yep.
once we're moving through with hose lines. So a lot of tripping hazards and stuff to maneuver
A
over.
little more work.
Yep,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
All right, this is Tony Olson today. We are out here at the training center doing a little trench rescue training. I am with the Heavy Rescue 5 crew at Fire Station 5 on East 10th here in Sioux Falls. And like I said earlier, we're out at our training center today just doing a little trench rescue training. Today we learned about 3 new techniques called void filling. And basically what that does is we're taking different materials and different techniques to fill a void of a trench that's collapsed, so then that we can put our panels in to safely shore that trench and go in and rescue the victim. Any given time in the city of Sioux Falls, there could be hundreds of trenches open within the city, just different building sites, utilities going in, street construction type of things like that. And even in the entire county, Minnehaha County, because we will get dispatched out in the county to assist other departments with any sort of technical rescue calls that they may have as well. Like I said earlier, today we use kind of 3 newer techniques on the to fill the voids in a trench collapse. And I guess, you know, we're always trying to learn new things and evolve as things change and rescue techniques change. We're always trying to learn those new techniques and kind of stay ahead of the game instead of falling behind.
I'm here with Captain Rocky Foster. He's on C shift down at Station 3 on Truck 3. And one of the things that he does on his shift is what he calls hot training. Rocky, explain to us a little bit, what is hot training for your shift?
Hot training stands for hands-on training. It's just another way to get the crews out and try to run through realistic scenarios. A lot of the scenarios we do are things that we read about. And so we set it up as best we can, as similar as we can. Unfortunately, instead of having an entire fire alarm coming, we do a lot of this just with one company. But the concept is still the same, whether you've got 16 people on scene or just 4 people on scene. You've got your job, and you carry out those functions as you would in any other assignment.
So really what you're trying to do is you get across kind of the back to the basics of firefighting, just the skills, the abilities, the tasks that they need to do on a everyday basis, and you're hitting them.
Absolutely. It's not to say that we don't get a little more complicated once in a while, but a vast majority of our scenarios are search, it's pulling hose, it's ladders, and putting the officers and the firefighters into situations where they've got to make quick decisions that matter right now.
So they're thinking on their toes, they're deciding what needs to happen and going for it.
Correct.
All right, well, anything else with this training? It's primarily on your shift, right?
Correct.
And it's something we should be moving on to the other shifts to do too, so I like that idea.
Yeah, I can't just take credit for this. I've had super crews that have been very supportive of this and like to work. John Alvey, who was a firefighter on my truck for a long time, who moved to A shift and has kind of taken a lot of this same mentality there, so I know they're doing it a bit. But this is an entire Truck 3 operation. There's so much going on here.
Yep.
I couldn't do it by myself, and I'm just very fortunate to have crews that support it. So
it's a great thing. I'm very happy that you're doing it, and like I said, I'm hoping to take it on to the rest of the department to do. So thank you very much.
Hey, we'd love to do it. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Portable Fire Extinguisher Training with Sioux Falls Fire Rescue. Today's training is to help make you comfortable with fire extinguishers.
Fire grows exponentially and can double in size every minute. If you can catch it when it is small, you may be able to safely put it out. A fire extinguisher can be your first line of defense. In this training, we will go over extinguisher placement and maintenance, firefighting decision criteria, types of fires and fire extinguishers, parts of the fire extinguisher, and how to use a fire extinguisher.
According to the U.S. Fire Administration statistics, the kitchen is the place where most fires occur. Good places to put fire extinguishers are near exit doors, hallways, kitchens, and mechanical or electrical rooms. They need to be placed in plain sight. Do not put them in closets because it will cost you valuable time when going to get it. To prevent fire extinguishers from being moved or damaged, they should be mounted on brackets or in a wall cabinet. The extinguisher handle should be placed 3.5 to 5 feet above the floor. The bottom of the extinguisher shouldn't be any lower than 4 inches above the floor. It's also recommended to install a sign or other means of identification above the fire extinguisher, so its location can be identified from a distance in case it's obstructed from view. Fire extinguishers must be positioned based on the potential type of fire and the size of that fire that can occur.
Also, to ensure each area is protected, you need to make sure the extinguisher is fully charged and working properly. It is recommended to inspect all extinguishers at least once a month. So ask yourselves these questions. Is each extinguisher in the designated place? Is it clearly visible and not blocked by equipment, coats, merchandise, or other objects that could interfere with the access during an emergency? Is the nameplate with the operating instructions legible and looking outwards? Is the pressure gauge showing that the extinguisher is fully charged, which means that the needle should be in the green zone? Is the pin and tamper seal intact? Is the extinguisher in good condition and not showing any signs of physical damage, corrosion, leakage? Has a dry powder extinguisher been gently rocked top to bottom to make sure the powder is not packing?
If you answered no to any of these, you need to immediately address the issue. Remember, extinguishers do not replace the priority of the fire department. Extinguishers are only effective on small fires under certain conditions. Always remember that even if the fire is small, to call 911. Fires that appear to be fully extinguished can be smoldering and can come back. Always sound the alarm regardless of the size of the fire. There may be times when fighting the fire may increase the danger to yourself and to the others in the area.
Here's a list of things to consider before you try to fight the fire. Only stay and fight the fire if you can say yes to every item on the list. Is the fire small enough and contained enough that you can put it out safely? Is the fire extinguisher available and within easy reach? Is the fire extinguisher the proper type to put out what kind of fire that you want to fight? Do you have the safe egress or exit route that can be reached without exposure to fire?
Different types of fire extinguishers are designed to fight different types of fire. To understand how fire extinguishers work, you need to understand a little bit about fire. Fire is a very rapid chemical reaction between oxygen and a combustible material. This results in the release of heat, light, flames, and smoke. For fire to exist, the following 4 elements must be present at the same time. Enough oxygen to sustain combustion, enough heat to raise the material to ignition temperature, some sort of fuel or combustible material, and the chemical reaction. A fire extinguisher is able to put out a fire by either cooling the burning fuel, displaces or removes the oxygen, or it stops the chemical reaction so the fire cannot burn.
When the handle of the extinguisher is compressed, agent is expelled out of the nozzle. The types of fire classes are A, B, C, D, and K. Let's go over each of those. Type A fires are from ordinary combustibles, such as cloth, wood, paper, rubber, and plastics. These type of materials can be extinguished using an air pressure water extinguisher, which is typically a large silver container filled about 2/3 of the way with ordinary water and then pressurized with air. In some cases, detergents are added to the water to produce a foam. Type B fires are from flammable liquids, such as gasoline, oil, some paints, and some other type of solvents. You can use a carbon dioxide fire extinguisher labeled with a B on this type of fire. These types of fire extinguishers put out fire by displacing oxygen or taking away the oxygen element of the fire triangle. Type C fires are from energized circuits such as electrical equipment like computers, microwaves, fuse boxes, and wires. Use a dry chemical fire extinguisher labeled with a C on this type of fire. It puts out the fire by coating the fuel with a thin layer of fire retardant powder, separating the fuel from the oxygen. Type D fires are from combustible metals involving powders or flakes of magnesium, sodium, potassium, titanium, or other flammable metals. Use fire extinguishers labeled with a D on this type of fire. Type K fires are from combustible oils such as animal oils, vegetable oils, or fats used commonly in cooking due to higher heating rates. Use the fire extinguishers labeled with a K on this type of fire.
A multi-purpose dry chemical, or ABC extinguisher, works on A, B, and C fires. In addition to the dry chemicals smothering the fire by depriving it of oxygen, the powder also works to interrupt the chemical reaction. When using an extinguisher, keep your back to the exit and, depending on the size of the extinguisher, stand 10 to 20 feet from the fire. Follow the 4-step pass procedure. If the fire does not go out immediately, leave the area at once. Remember the word pass. P stands for pull the pin. This will unlock the operating lever and allows you to discharge the extinguisher. A stands for aim. Aim the extinguisher nozzle or hose at the base of the flames. This is the spot where the flames are touching the fuel source. Do not touch the plastic discharge horn on the CO2 extinguishers. It gets extremely cold and may damage your skin. S stands for squeeze. Squeeze the trigger while holding the extinguisher upright. And the other S stands for sweep. Sweep the extinguishers from side to side, covering the area of the fire with the extinguishing agent. Watch the fire area, and if it reignites, repeat the process. A word of warning. Portable fire extinguishers discharge faster than most people think, many within 15 to 30 seconds.
Always remember, react when faced with a fire emergency. R is removing the danger. E is to ensure the door is closed to help contain the fire and smoke. A is for activating the alarm so everyone is alerted. C is for calling the fire department by dialing 911. T is for trying to extinguish the fire. Always remember to treat all fires as dangerous. Hi, we are at the Sioux Falls Fire Training Site. We are here going to demonstrate how to properly extinguish a fire with a multi-purpose fire extinguisher. Today we have a Class A fire going, which is just your ordinary combustibles. I want you to remember when you're going to pick up a fire extinguisher to fight that fire, pass, pull, aim, squeeze, sweep. Here we go. Now pull the pin, take this out. I'm going to slowly back away from that fire if it's still going. Back away from that fire, don't turn your back to it. We should be good to go. That's how it's properly done.
Thank you for watching this episode. If you want to know more about Sioux Falls Fire Rescue, log on to siouxfalls.org/fire, and we'll see you next time.